Greeting and welcome to the structure-led demo for file reading. Now, I assume that you have already read the material and that you have watched the lecture video. So, that assumption in mind, let's get going. So, to open a file, of course, we need to know which file we're going to open. In this particular case, we are going to open echo.txt. We need a variable to store a reference. If I just type in open and give the file name, that's going to return a reference to the open file, but since I'm not storing that reference, I can't do anything. We still need a variable to be able to hold on to that file. I would also strongly recommend always just as a matter of fact to immediately toss in your close statement because you never want to leave a file open because that can lead to corruption and loss of the file. Next up, we need to read the information in. We've got three core ways of doing that with text files. We can read the entire file all at once. We can read it one line at a time at our own pace, or we can use a for loop to read it one line at a time until we run out of line. So to show this, if I say cur line is equal to cur file dot read line, yep, and then after my file is closed, I will print that. Again, will it harm things if I print that line before I close the file? No, but you just want to make it a habit that you always close the file as soon as you possibly can before you start working with the information. And if I run this, I get the first line, a really bad AI story. The other option that I have is just to read the whole thing in at once. As you can see, there it is, the entire story. When you use a file.read, that's going to read in the entire contents of the file. Probably not what you want in most scenarios, because you are going to want to usually do something with it besides just spit it back out again. And then the final way that we can do this is to read it one line at a time, but use a for loop to do it. So if I say for variable name in file reference, what that is going to do, assuming that of course it is in read mode and it is in text mode, is it's going to read one line at a time out of the file. And then I can say print per line. And once again, if I run this, now this time I do, actually, let me get rid of this, comment this one out down here. Now this time I do have to print it out before the file is closed because I'm reading a line, printing it, reading a line, printing it. So in this particular scenario, I do in fact want to just leave it open like this. Five, and then again. There we go. Again, it is getting cut off a little bit. It looks a little bit weird because of how the width is, but it is printing everything out correctly. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, this one's a really short video. Again, the majority of the content this time around is in the lecture video. Honestly, opening a file, like I keep saying, in the lecture and other places, opening, reading, and writing to a file really isn't very difficult. It's very simple, as we can see here. Now, if I take out all the spaces and stuff, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of code to open a file, read it line by line, print it out to the screen, close the file. That's all you got to do. The tricky part with files, and what you will have to pay attention to when you're working with these other files uh, for the various assignments, is understanding how the file is organized and how you need to read the information out. The actual act of opening the file and reading the information really isn't very hard. Just take your time and carefully think through, what is it that I need to do with the information in this file. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Until the next one.